back to my channel, Rehab at Home with Colleen. Today's question comes from Sarah. Sarah wanted us to explain the benefits of a resting hand splint, specifically because, and how to put it on, but specifically because her mom had a stroke and her mom doesn't want to wear her resting hand splint and she doesn't know how to explain to her the benefits or why it's beneficial. So I'm here right now to bust the myth that this is a complicated contraption. It's easy, it's useful. You definitely should use it, especially if you have a hand that's not moving. So let's go over why you should use it and how to put it on. All right, so there are two main reasons that you should be wearing a resting hand splint. The first reason is for swelling. So let's say you are sleeping at night and you let your hand hang in because it's not moving or working. You're gonna get something called pitting edema. That edema is just gonna get trapped in your hand, and every time you wake up with a swollen hand, or maybe you're sitting in your wheelchair and you let your hand hang and it's swollen, you're not going to be able to rehab the hand and get those connections firing again the way you should. So the benefits of a resting hand splint, whether that's at night or maybe during the day in a wheelchair, is that it positions your hand so you don't allow that wrist to bend. The second reason you want to use a resting hand splint is for positioning. So positioning is important because if you let a hand hang down at the joints specifically, if you let them just stay the way without moving them, they can freeze. Especially if they freeze in a bad position, this can cause a contracture. A contracture is freezing of tissue. So if this joint of my wrist becomes frozen because I just held it in my lap day after day, year after year, or maybe I slept with it and I never wanted to move it because it was painful, that's going to become stuck. It's going to get contracted. It's going to get frozen. And the only way to unfreeze a joint like that is to do surgery. It's very painful, it's very debilitating, and it severely limits rehab. So again, a resting hand splint will position your hand in a neutral position, a straight wrist, straight alignment of the fingers. So all these joints are straight. My wrist is straight. My thumb is straight. Even my forehand is going to stay in a neutral position. All right, so picking the right resting hand splint is important. So I will put a link in the description for this specific resting hand splint. The reason I like this hand splint is, one, it was super cheap on Amazon. Two, it's soft. So you always want to make sure you go with something soft because a hard resting hand splint can cause breakdown for someone who has an arm that isn't moving. You want to make sure you're watching that, what we call skin integrity. So soft, and it's also bendable. So now let's say my wrist is a little tight. I can actually bend this splint to fit my specific hand. And the other reason I like it is it does right or left. So you know, if you flip it this way, it does one side. If you flip it the other way, it does the other. So that's universal. So to start, you're going to take the person's hand or take your hand and you're going to put each finger into one of these nice loopholes. So that already is the benefit of this, is it's going to keep your fingers separated instead of some patients I see 3-4 years out, they let their fingers just hold like this together and they got stuck, okay? Stuck fingers, you're never gonna be able to get your grasp back. So this separates out your fingers. You're then gonna take your thumb, and there's this thumb piece, and this thumb, if you look at it, it's movable, right? So you're gonna adjust the thumb piece to fit your thumb. So there's your fingers. Now you're gonna strap in. All of these Velcro strips come off, so you can adjust it to specifically how you want the Velcro to be, but you're just gonna take and you're going to wrap this around your fingers for the top one that holds my fingers in place. Here's a nice, and these are all Velcro, really easy to use. So here's the thumb piece. Again, I'm just gonna take and secure my thumb, ooh, wrong way. Just gonna take and secure my thumb so that then Velcro it in. So now you see my hand's in a good spot. So again, you can manipulate this to make sure it fits the wrist. Now I'm gonna take the next strip and I'm gonna put it around to support the wrist area. So that's down. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the bottom strap. Okay. So now I have a resting hand splint. So again, if you're sitting in your chair, look at the great position I have versus someone who holds their hand like this. Or if I'm laying in bed, instead of my hand getting trapped underneath me, it's supported and protected to avoid swelling. If you like the content that I put out in this video about the resting hand splint, please make sure to subscribe and like our video. The more comments and likes that we get, the more content we can put out. And we would also like to know, do you want to hear about something else about rehabbing at home? So put that in there. We pay attention to the comments and we will respond. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.